Hello and welcome to yet another video, and in this video we're going to learn about arrow function and how they relate to this keyword. Before we understand the relationship between this keyword and the arrow function, we need to understand how it behaves with regular function. Okay, so here I have a simple function with the name of say hi. Now in JavaScript, when you create a function, they become part of the global window object. And that's important to know because when you use this keyword, it refers to the enclosing context. So in this case, you would imagine that when you use this keyword here inside, you would imagine that this refers to the function within these two curly braces, right? And that is true, but because in JavaScript, when you create a function, they become part of the global window object. When you use this, points to the window object. To prove this to you, what we can do is we can simply console log this. Okay, so this is a special keyword. So when we console log this, we are referring to the enclosing context, which is the window object. So let's go and have a look at this. So let me open up the developer tool. As you can see, we are console logging this, which refers to the window object. And if you click here, you will see window object has a lot of properties. So we should be able to see this say hi method available as the property of the window object. Let's have a look. So that begins with S. So let's go. It's in alphabetical order. If you go all the way down to S, as you can see, we have say hi function available as method in this window object. So this refers to the enclosing context, but because the function in JavaScript become part of the window object, this refers to the window object. Okay, so once you understand that, we can see how it works with arrow function. So let me get rid of all this. With this knowledge, let's go ahead and create a simple object that will have its own properties and methods. And on that method, first we will use the regular function and we will see the problem and we will solve that problem using arrow function. Create an object, let's call it Nepal. So this will have, let's add some property, add property mountains, and it will be an array of mountains such as Everest, Fistel, Annapurna. Now let's create a method that will print all these mountains with a dash in between. Okay, so let's add the method. I'm going to call it print with a dash. In JavaScript, you know that functions can be used as the value, right? So this property will have a value of function. Okay, function. Now I'm using the old school function, and here I'm going to use set timeout method that you can use in JavaScript. So set timeout. Now it will take two arguments. The first argument is the function itself, and the second argument is the timing. So first let's create a function. Now what this function will do is it will simply console log this mountains, and what I would like to do is I would like to use this join method. This will simply join all the mountains name with a dash. Okay, so this is the first argument of function itself, and the second argument, comma separated, we can give the timing. So after 3 seconds, this function will invoke itself, the set timeout function. We can try it. Let's alert Nepal, the object and its property. Let's get mountains. fix this typo. It should be just Everest, and we should have it comma at the end, not the semicolon, right? Because it's just the first property and then followed by the second property. Once we save, we can go to the browser and give it a try, and we can see the mountain's name, right? That's fine. That's the array. But what about print with dash? This method, can we access this method? Let's try print with dash. Now let's give it a try. Let's get rid of the alert here. Okay, so we're accessing the objects method. Okay, so it should print out the console log, the mountain's name in 3 seconds, right? So let's give it a try. So the problem here is it cannot read property join of undefined, which means it doesn't find the mountains. We are referring with this, but this is pointing to somewhere else, not within this context. So we need to understand clearly that this keyword is referring to which context, this context or the outer functions context or the objects context or the window object. We need to find that out, right? We can begin by just comment this out, and then let's console log here, console log this, just to find out when we use this keyword within this function, set timeout function, we want to know where does this point to, right? We can also write here, just for our reference, inside set timeout. Let's go and refresh. Okay, so inside set timeout window, so it is still pointing to the window object when we use this. Now what about we console log here, and let's write this one inside print with dash. So let's find out inside this print with dash method, this anonymous function, when we use this, let's find out where this refers to. Let's save and refresh. Okay, so inside set timeout, that is pointing to the window, but interestingly inside print with dash, it is pointing to the object itself. As you can see, the object has the mountains property and print with the dash function itself. So this can be a bit tricky to understand, but as you can see, JavaScript behaves in a bit weird way. When we use this here, it points to the window object. However, this print with the dash function is a part of this object we used as anonymous function. For that reason, it is pointing to this object, not on the window. So this is where you can benefit by using arrow function, because arrow functions don't have their own enclosing context. So if you use it within another function, in this case this anonymous function, which is part of this object, this keyword used inside the arrow function will point to the enclosing or outer function context. Okay, so let's do that. Let's comment this out. Let's comment this out as well. And what we can do is we can use, let's bring it back. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. This problem can be fixed by changing this function, the first argument of this set timeout method. Let's change this to arrow function, and it is pretty straightforward. We can get rid of the function keyword. We can get rid of these curly braces because it's just one statement we're returning. And now all we have to do is use this arrow, right? Now we can even put it in one line, so makes more readable. Okay, and let's get rid of this semicolon. So this is all we need to do. Because this arrow function don't have their own context, this will refer to this function, this outer function, the wrapping function. And this function, as we know, is part of this object, right? So when you access this object and invoke this method, it will behave properly. Let's save this one and give it a try. Refresh. In 3 seconds we see the outcome. Awesome. So this is important to understand because in React you will be using this pattern, this way of writing code. Okay, so this is it. This is your introduction to the arrow functions and this keyword.